Hello and welcome. 5 p.m. Sharp 5 actually. So good. The subject that I wanted to discuss with everybody. I was watching Mukul Chaudhary bat last night. I was thinking this is not the first time that we have been in awe. Just think of the innings. 130 for 7. Mohammad Shami gets out. He holds out in the deep. The guy hits 7 sixes thereafter. Karthik Tyagi 2, Cameron Green 2, and then 2 of the last over of Vaibhav Arora. 7 sixes in all. Absolutely unbelievable. And goes on to win the game for the Lucknow Super Giants in the last one. Now, by the way, while we celebrate Mukul Chaudhary, while we celebrate all of this, one must also just put things in perspective a little bit. Think about the value of experience. Oftentimes we overlook it. Think about what happened in the last ball the previous night and what happened in the last ball last night. Think about what happened against the Delhi Capitals. Gujarat Titans, similarly, last ball, one to get for a tie for Delhi, two to win. The ball was bowled. Prasidh Krishna managed to get the wide away, no wide. David Miller and Kuldeep Yadav, Joss Butler was ready with his gloves off. The moment the non-striker started to run, Butler was off in a flash. He destroyed the stumps. Kuldeep was found short. That's experience. Yesterday, Ankrish Raghuvamshi took a split more second. And by the time Ankrish Raghuvamshi was ready, Avesh Khan has made his ground. So you have to understand the importance of experience also when you take a look at the deeper nuances of how a win is achieved. And that is precisely what had happened yesterday between Ankrish Raghuvamshi and Joss Butler day before. And so the comparison is there. Nothing to take away from the brilliance of Mukul Chaudhary yesterday. Did anybody expect that Mukul Chaudhary will be able to do this? Maybe the answer is no. Especially if you have watched Mukul Chaudhary in the previous game, when he struggled in the last three balls and Rishabh Pant actually went and patted him on the back, took it on himself, hit the two boundaries of Jaidev Unadkat and finished the game off for the Lucknow Super Giants. This is what I am talking about for India. That the IPL, according to me, is India's prime time talent hunt. It is. It has replaced the soap and the serial. It has replaced everything, and it is India's prime time talent hunt of a very different level. Whether it is Mukul Chaudhary, whether it is Vaibhav Suryavanshi, whether it is Samir Rizvi, whether it is Priyan Sharia, whether it is Yashashvi Jaiswal, or for that matter, anyone. Imagine the kind of audaciousness that you are seeing. Imagine the kind of talent you are seeing on display night in, night out. And that is what precisely makes the IPL what it is, India's prime time talent hunt. Coming back to the Mukul Chaudhary effort from last night once more, I thought there were two things that KKR could have done. One, I think Ajinkya Rahane should not have gone to Cameron Green for the 19th over. Cameron Green has bowled one over in this IPL, and that's yesterday, 12 runs, one wicket. The Rishabh Pant wicket. Now, because of his under bowling, Cameron Green is clearly not at his best yet with the ball. To go to Green, I thought was perhaps not the best call. And you can very well say that you are saying this in hindsight. True, I am. Having said that, even when you went to Green, it was fraught with a lot of risk. Much like going to Navdeep Saini in the third over of the power play against an Aiden Markram or a Mitchell Marsh did not look the best strategy to me. There were a couple of instances in the game yesterday. Again, nothing to take away from the Mukul Chaudhary effort, where I think the Kolkata Knight Riders could have won the game. They could have sealed the deal. More so when Nicholas Puran is not at his best for the Lucknow Super Giants. If you take a look at the matches that Nicholas Puran has played, if you take a look at some of his scores, speak to some of the people who has watched him back in the Caribbean in the build-up, the local matches that he has played, you will know that Nicholas Puran has hardly any score of any relevance under his belt before coming to play the IPL. And now that Nicholas Puran does not play international cricket, there is going to be a significant problem as far as Nick Puran is concerned. For me, whether or not Nicholas Puran will be the same player that he was in the last 2 seasons has to really be seen. Now, there could be a one off innings which is of incredible class or incredible quality. There is no debate that Nicholas Puran is kind of excellent. That can very well happen. But I don't think you will see a Nicholas Puran of that quality on a regular basis. I don't think so. Now, when I put things in context, I think the Lucknow Super Giants batting is quite mediocre. After the top three, it is a pretty mediocre batting lineup with an Abdul Samad and Nicholas Puran not in form. Ayush Badoni was excellent yesterday, but can we expect the same consistency from Ayush Badoni day in day out? I have my doubts. I have my serious doubts. And also, Mukul Chaudhary was a one-off spectacle yesterday. But again, can he be the finisher that Justin Langer possibly wants him to be on a regular basis? We have to wait and see. So when I see the Lucknow Super Giants lineup, I do think it is extremely top heavy with Markram, with Mitchell Marsh and Rishabh Pant. And that's where I think Josh Inglis is a dire necessity for the Lucknow Super Giants. The moment they get a Josh Inglis, he becomes a possible option to go to, maybe for a foreign bowler or even for a Nicholas Puran if he doesn't continue to perform in the next 3-4 games. For KKR, I thought overs 11 to 15 was horrific. I absolutely think was absolutely pathetic. KKR needs to look at this point. If I take a look at the teams, I have to say it seems KKR will finish at the bottom half of the table pretty badly. Because I for Lucknow Super Giants, like a Josh Inglis will help them. They've already got 2 wins. If a Josh Inglis comes and stabilizes the middle order, now that Mukul Chaudhary has this kind of confidence, Lucknow Super Giants can absolutely start to knock the door of the playoffs with a couple more wins. When I take a look at KKR, 4 games, 3 losses, one no result, an abandoned game giving 1 point. That game also, by the way, KKR would have lost. The call to bat first in that game after winning the toss again, I think, was a wrong call. On that day, there was rain around, thunder showers were predicted. For KKR to take that call and decide to bat first on that particular day was a wrong call. Had the rain stopped half an hour before, it would mean KKR would have had 8 balls to play and they would have lost that game with Priyansh Arya and Prabhsingham coming and knocking it off in no time. So KKR, even for that 1 point, has been extremely lucky so far. What are the problems that I am seeing for KKR? Now, yesterday, think about it. It was a reasonable power play of 56 runs. Not the best. Not the best. Power plays these days, 70 runs, 66 runs, some, at least 11, 11 and a half, 12 have become par. KKR got 9. Chalo, 9 is also okay. But after that, they were going at. Can you do a back? What do you mean a back? Jason, what is the question? Now the point is, when you have a, they were going at 9.5 till the 8th over, even the 9th over. Thereafter, All of a sudden, till the time Rinku got out and Cameron Green and Rovman Powell settled themselves, that overs 11 to 15 allowed KKR some 20 odd runs. And that was absolutely when the match was lost, according to me. Yes, they were able to come back because of the relatively underwhelming nature of the Lucknow Super Giants batting. Had it been a Punjab, had it been a Rajasthan, had it been one of those heavy sides with a better middle order, the 180 could have been knocked off in 16 or 17 overs after the start that the Lucknow Super Giants got. So again, one has to say that KKR got a bit of an opportunity there to win the game, which they squandered. Yes, Pavan, I will talk about Ayush. But coming, and that's where I think, I started saying that the IPL is a talent hunt. I would want to spend a few minutes before I take the questions on the mentality or the temperament of somebody like a Mukul Chaudhary. Now, the guy, when Mohammad Shami got out, the guy literally told himself that he has 18 balls and he has some 50 runs to win. Clearly, or 45 runs, whatever it was. Now, he told himself that every third ball he has to hit a six. That's what he did. He gave Avesh Khan only the last balls of the over with a license to kill, that if he connects, it's great. If it doesn't connect, doesn't matter because Mukul retains the strike. So effectively, what he was telling himself was five balls, one single, two sixes, and a boundary. That's what he has to get. So every over, he will play five balls. He will try and hit two sixes or at least a six and a boundary so that he's in the hunt. Unbelievable. And that's what makes that innings so special. That helicopter shot, magical, magical. Then that shot which won them the game, the 6 over cover, diagonal, wide off. Vaibhav Arora did not do anything wrong. Mukul Chaudhary with a flash of brilliance, and imagine what those wrists are all about. The kind of power the man has in his wrists. No kidding. No kidding. Absolutely incredible to be able to hit that ball for six. So that's where I think, and I can see that in a Vaibhav who has the audacity, the audaciousness, the courage to do that to a Bumrah. I can see that in a Yashasvi Jaiswal who is not even being spoken about, when the last two matches, the way Yashasvi Jaiswal has played has been absolutely stellar. I can see that in a Priyan Sharia, the way Priyan Sharia dealt with a Matt Henry, for example, has been mind blowing for me. The pull, the straight shot over 11, 13 balls, 39, the impact that a Priyan Sharia, for example, has had for Punjab Kings at the top of the order. Magical. That's what the IPL for me has been about when I say that it is India's prime time soap or talent hunt. Unbelievable kind of talent on view, and tonight you will again see Vaibhav Suryavanshi, Yashasvi Jaiswal come out against the RCB. So you will have that talent on view again, and that's what makes India's white ball cricket the kind of how do I put it? The firepower, the depth, the unmatched brilliance that India now has in the white ball game. There are lots of questions. Let me take some. In modern T20s, if you bat first, you have to bat the opposition out of the game, says Piku W6. Look at the top teams, overwhelmed sides. I 100% agree. And that is why I said what I said, that had it been a relatively better team compared to the Lucknow Super Giants, whose middle order is a bit stronger, the 182 could have been chased down in 16 or 17 Piku. So your point is well taken. I thought KKR was a good 20 shot, despite the fact that the ball was doing a bit. Sunil Narayan bowled beautifully well. The ball was doing a bit. The wicket was helping the bowlers a little bit. So all of that was there yesterday night at the Eden Gardens. Having said that, 200 is par on a good batting deck, if not more. So the point is taken that if you are batting first, you have to be able to give your people that kind of cushion. 100% correct. More when you are a Kolkata Knight Riders and you're missing your top four bowlers. So Matish Pathirana not there, Varun Chakravarti not there, Harshit Rana not there, Akashdeep not there. So you're missing a number of key bowlers. Cameron Green bowled, but clearly not at his best. So when you are in such a situation, your batting unit has to add that 20, 25, 30 runs more for your bowlers to feel comfortable. Piku again, 11 to 14 over phase 3 wickets, 100%. That's what I said at the start, between 11 to 15. To get those 20 odd runs in 4-5 overs was the real problem for KKR when the match went away from them. Abhay 2801, update on India selector tenure ended, or will he? Ajit Agarkar, you mean? No, Ajit Agarkar will definitely be there till the middle of the year. So there's no question that he will be. There's no question of his tenure ending so far. No. So he got that extension. There's no reason why. No reason why that his tenure has ended. Boryada, 2 weeks to go for another Sachin Tendulkar birthday interview. Please have a chat with Sachin for sure. We'll definitely have a chat with Sachin. Last had a chat ahead of the conclave when he wished Rev Sports for the new studio and had sent that video, which I'm sure you guys have watched. Definitely Himadri will have a chat with Sachin and request him for an interview, and also his take on what the kind of talent that we are seeing on view, or what we are seeing so far. Can you do a back, Jason? I didn't understand what you meant. What is your view on India next T20 captain? Sky continue or there be changes, Abhay? At this point in time, obviously no question of Sky not continuing, but there are multiple options. Shreyash is an option if you want to bring in somebody from the outside. There are enormous amount of talented players in that mix. So Jasprit Bumrah is an option if he plays all games. But this format will now be pick and choose. I'm sure the some of the players will be rotated around. I would want to see a Vaibhav Suryavanshi, Priyansh Arya type players given an Yashasvi Jaiswal given an opportunity for the Ireland series, for the Zimbabwe series. So we will see. At least at this point, I don't see Sky not playing. But we'll over a period of time we will have to see how the cookie unfolds there. Akshar Patel, why not Akshar Patel as captain? So far he's done well for the Delhi Capitals, bowled beautifully. You might say hasn't scored that many, but as a bowler, in difficult circumstances has done extremely well. Ayush Shetty performance was brilliant. To take Johnny Christie out 23-21, Pavan Suresh, and then the second game 21-17. After Li Shifeng, world number 7, now Jonathan Christie 4. He will probably play Vititsan, the world number 1 at this point in time, top seed in the Badminton Asia. Only the 7th Indian to give India a medal. Pronoy was last in 2018. Now Ayush has a world ranking 25, should definitely get much, much better. This year could well be the year when Ayush Shetty breaks into the top 15 of the world, if not higher, if he is able to produce these kind of performances. If you see from last year only, time and again, Ayush Shetty has won one or two really good games, but he hasn't been able to do so consistently. That's where I think one can, if you want Ayush Shetty to really turn the leaf, the one thing where Ayush needs to still get better is with consistency, which we have seen in the Badminton Asia Championships. 3 better players, higher ranked players have been beaten. Now the world number 1, the other semi-final is between Shi Yuqi. So maybe Yuqi will make the finals. So we'll have to see. Yuqi and Narauka played another cracker there. Shi Yuqi and CTC will play the other semi-final, and Ayush will play Vititsan. I do give Ayush a chance even against Vititsan because the fellow is playing some outstanding badminton. Fitness wise, better, stronger, consistent shot making, and not free points. That's the Ayush Shetty of this Badminton Asia Championship. We will have an eye on the man for sure. Can you do a Venki Mysore interview about how behind the scenes work, how crucial decisions are made? In the middle of the season, these interviews are difficult to do, or to even ask, it's unfair. At this point in time, if I do a Venki Mysore interview, what are the questions I need to? I will have to ask things which are perhaps not right for him to even say to the media on camera, because the season hasn't started well. It is 1 out of 1 point in 4 matches. You lose a couple, you're gone. You lose 2 more matches, and KKR are on the verge of elimination. So clearly they are under enormous amount of pressure at this point. The Rajasthan Royals match is at home on the 19th with Vaibhav and Yashashvi, and people are in sublime form. So to ask somebody like a Venki Mysore for an interview is kind of unfair. So let the season get done. Then one can definitely say and try and understand what works. But from what I know, auctions, all of these people, including the coaching staff, have a major role. Abhishek Nair, and obviously Venki Mysore also. But day-to-day decision making, day-to-day decision making is the captain Ajinkya Rahane, the coach Abhishek Nair, somebody like an Andre Russell, and all of these people, but not a Venki Mysore. So if somebody thinks that it's a Venki Mysore who kind of makes a big pitch, that doesn't really happen. By the way, George Linder has been signed by the Lucknow Super Giants as a replacement for Wanindu Hasaranga. George Linder, the South African spinner, has been all-rounder, has been signed as a replacement for Wanindu Hasaranga. Was very much on the cards, very much on the cards after Hasaranga did not get the NOC from the Sri Lankan board after the injury. So George Linder has been signed by the Lucknow Super Giants. Also, Dewald Brevis is fit from what I know. Dewald Brevis is expected to take field for the Chennai Super Kings tomorrow. Mahendra Singh Dhoni has started practicing, but Mahendra Singh Dhoni will not play tomorrow and is expected to play from the next game, provided his rehab and recovery continues on track. So that's what the news points are. Lucknow Super Giants gets a replacement, George Linder, and the South African, and as far as Chennai is concerned, Dewald Brevis is ready. এই আর কোনো আশা নেই, খুব খারাপ, রিঙ্কু থেকে আশা অনেক বেশি, পারফরমেন্সেস সেই লেভেলে পাচ্ছে না। বিদ্যুৎ দাস, I tend to agree with you, Biddut. Unfortunately for Rinku, hasn't been a great season. He's getting an opportunity to bat at number three, at number five, which I think is a great opportunity for Rinku. If he's not able to do the job, then it's a bit of a problem. He should be. He should be able to do the job better. Yesterday also, it was a great opportunity for Rinku. Had he been there, he could have taken the score to 200. I met Rinku, as you guys know, in that CAB function. I think personally, he just needs one big score for him to be able to turn it around. There's a degree of underconfidence was dropped from the Indian team in the World Cup. Not one really big score, that 30 out of 17 balls not really helping. So one major score for Rinku Singh to turn things around. 2 weeks for a Tendulkar birthday interview. This World Cup team was the only team ever which did not have any player that played with him. His views on the newbies. Yes, Himadri, I've answered you already. We'll ask. Will Mukul Chaudhary, Anushmita get a chance in the Indian team? Not at this point. In whose place? The finishers are Hardik Pandya and Akshar Patel. So no, Mukul Chaudhary has to do that not just for one game. He has to do this consistently for at least a season for him to break into the Indian white ball setup, or at least India A. Because the kind of talent that the Indian setup has, one game or two games cannot be an index to make it to the Indian team. Taking nothing away from the young guys, we are getting all-round cricketers. Are we getting with test temperament? Vaibhav or Abhishek be groomed? Fair question. Yesterday, Deep Dasgupta made a very important point on this. Arjo Chatterjee, by the way, asking this question. Deep made a point that when they grew up, when our generation grew up, Deep and I, we are of the same age. When our generation grew up, the thing was, the red ball cricket was the norm, and only then would you play white ball. But now everybody cuts his or her teeth. So Vaibhav Suryavanshi is a born white ball player. So in his case, it is white ball that is the norm for a Vaibhav Suryavanshi, for example. And it is natural that you will have that kind of talent for white ball cricket and not so much for red ball cricket. So which is why I am a tad concerned about India's red ball cricket, because ultimately it cannot be that we will only excel in white ball while being the nerve center of the world game in terms of its finances. You also need to win. You need to win a WTC, need to do well in a WTC. You made a final, but last time you did not qualify. This time also you are struggling. So you have to make amends in red ball cricket also. Arjo, because all other top teams have talents that can play format like Bethel and Dewald Brevis. We too do. Take a Yashashvi Jaiswal. Take a Jasprit Bumrah, take an Akshar Patel, there are people There are people in the Indian ranks, Shubman Gill, 50 overs that is. There are people who are multi-format players, even in the Indian setup, Mohammad Siraj. But but I understand where you are coming from, and I do think our red ball cricket has to improve. Any update on Shiva? No, I mean, I've also read what you have read. To be honest, I have not had a conversation with Shiva Ramakrishnan. Whether the fiasco will end or not, he clearly seems extremely bitter, extremely upset. I cannot make a comment on this, Himadri, because I don't know. I haven't spoken to Shiva in recent times to be able to comment on this with any kind of proper knowledge. Devomita Shaha, I am afraid we are getting mostly talented batters, not so many bowlers and all rounders. Fair point, very fair point. But again, there are people who haven't done too badly. Take a Harsh Dubey, for example, decent in terms of bowling ability. We have seen someone like an Ashok Sharma. People are bowling with reasonable pace. There are some who are around. It's not as if we haven't seen spin, except Harsh Dubey. I haven't. You might say Ravi Bishnoi has done well, but your point is well taken, Debumita. That the amount of talent or the number of players that we are seeing in the batting department or come up as batters, that isn't the same when we cast our eyes on the bowlers. কাল খুব কষ্ট পেয়েছি, I can't digest yesterday's loss, says Shoptoshi Bhattacharya. Shoptoshi, I understand that as a KKR fan, you felt it was a loss that is very difficult to digest. And you are speaking like a true KKR fan, and I totally empathize with you. But you know what? The IPL is not just about KKR or a CSK or an RCB. It is also about India's talent. It is also about the quality of Indian players in the Indian Premier League. It is also about the kind of talent and effort that you're seeing from Indian youngsters. And moment you kind of take a look from that standpoint, na Shoptoshi, you will see that that innings by Mukul Chaudhary will make you feel really good. It was one of those efforts which came completely out of the blue, and he was magical in that effort. So I would urge you to kind of, now that time has passed, to distance yourself a little bit and see where the Mukul Chaudhary innings in perspective, and you will see that it's quite fantastic. The last 3 minutes on the show tonight, big game, Guwahati, RCB versus RR. RR has done well in Guwahati. Rian Parag has done extremely well as skipper. His bowlers have stood up, his batters have stood up, whether it is a Vaibhav or a Yashashvi or anyone, or a Tushar Deshpande, and some of his bowlers, a Nandre Burger, a Jofra Archer, Sandeep Sharma, all of his bowlers have stood up. So it will be a real challenge for the RCB setup. Having said that, that RCB middle order, Virat Kohli in sublime form, but more so because that middle order has that punch that many other teams don't. A Rajat Patidar, a Tim David, and a Romario Shepherd to finish off has that kind of punch. So they will challenge RR. It could well be a game with two teams that make the playoffs. RR for me slightly better. RR for me is looking the side. Punjab Kings, Rajasthan Royals. At this point, people will say RCB, but Rajasthan Royals, Punjab Kings are the two teams for me that are absolutely looking the part at this point in time. Absolutely looking the part at this point in time. Lucknow have their own set of problems. Of course, Devomita. They do. And like I said, the middle order is not looking that great. Rishabh Pant, yesterday, again, one has to see Rishabh score big, because otherwise it will be a bit of a problem. Nicholas Puran is an issue so far in the tournament. They need a Josh Inglis very badly and at the earliest. Justified to allow retired players to play IPL barring advertisement? Is it just brand? Good question, but how do you stop anyone if there is demand? This is a demand supply equation, Himadri. As long as there is demand for somebody, this is a free market. Anyone can put himself up for consumption, provided there is a there is a taker for that person in a free labor market. So you can't stop anybody from plying his trade. Excited for today's encounter, Parag versus Kohli, aggressive characters. Yes, but I mean, there's no this thing there. Having said that, I want to see how an RCB, how a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, for example, bowls to a Vaibhav Suryavanshi. How does a Jacob Duffy bowl to a Vaibhav Suryavanshi? That will be my point of interest. That how will, because now people know what this guy is capable of. How will teams react to him is something that I will wait and see. I got into go to a meeting, so I'll have to end the show here. Always a pleasure to come and take as many questions and have a conversation with you all. See you all tomorrow at 12 noon again. See you all tomorrow at 12 noon again. For the moment, that's all I have. Thank you very much.